Every human being carries questions that are never asked out loud. Questions about fear, love, pain, purpose, and the mind itself. Welcome to the Big Question. Understand Your Mind. A place where psychology, neuroscience, and human consciousness come together to help you understand yourself and transform the way you live. If you're searching for answers to the questions that shape your life, subscribe and join us on this journey of understanding the human mind. Now, let's explore today's big question. Why do we overthink everything? Have you ever noticed that no matter how hard you try, your mind simply refuses to stop? You replay conversations that ended days ago. You imagine situations that will probably never happen. You create hundreds of possible futures, most of which never become reality. And somehow the more you think, the less certain you become. Why? Why does the human mind keep talking, even when all we want is a moment of peace? Perhaps the greatest mystery is not why we think. Perhaps the real mystery is why we believe every thought. For thousands of years, human beings have searched for silence. Monks, philosophers, scientists, psychologists, all asking the same question: can the mind ever become truly quiet? Modern neuroscience offers an unexpected answer. Your brain was never designed to make you happy. It was designed to keep you alive. Long before cities existed, long before technology, your ancestors survived because their brains constantly searched for danger. A strange sound in the forest, a movement in the shadows, a possible threat. Those who imagined the worst often survived. Those who ignored danger often didn't. Your brain inherited that same survival system. But today the dangers are different. Instead of wild animals, your brain searches for emotional threats. What if I fail? What if they reject me? What if I lose everything? What if I'm not enough? The brain doesn't know the difference between a tiger and an embarrassing memory. To your nervous system, both can feel like danger. And that changes everything. Because overthinking is not a personality flaw. It is often an ancient survival mechanism trying to protect you. The strange part is the more uncertain life becomes, the more the brain believes that thinking harder will somehow create certainty. So it keeps analyzing, replaying, predicting, comparing, searching for the perfect answer. But certainty never arrives. Instead, anxiety grows. Imagine standing in front of a river. The water keeps flowing without asking for permission. Your thoughts are exactly the same. Thoughts naturally appear. They naturally disappear. The problem begins when you jump into the river trying to stop the current with your hands. That is what overthinking really is. Not having thoughts, but fighting them. Trying to control them, trying to solve every possible future before it even exists. And perhaps the greatest misunderstanding of all is believing that more thinking always creates better decisions. Sometimes thinking more only creates more thinking. Every unanswered question generates another. Every doubt produces to new doubts. The mind becomes trapped inside a maze that it built itself. And without realizing it, you stop living in reality and begin living inside your own imagination. That is where millions of people spend their lives. Not in the present moment, but inside stories that have never happened and may never happen at all. Yet your body reacts as if they were already real. Your heart beats faster. Your muscles become tense. Sleep disappears. Your breathing changes. Not because of reality, but because of imagination. The brain cannot always distinguish between a real experience and one that is vividly imagined. That is why overthinking feels so exhausting. You are fighting battles that only exist inside your own mind. And the most surprising part is that many intelligent people overthink the most, not because they are weak, but because they have learned to trust every thought without ever questioning the thinker. But here's something even more fascinating. If overthinking were really the answer, it would have solved your problems by now. Think about it. How many hours have you spent replaying the same situation hoping to finally find peace? How many nights have you stayed awake trying to predict every possible outcome? And yet, did all that thinking remove the uncertainty, or did it simply create more fear? The mind has a remarkable illusion. It believes that if it keeps thinking, it remains in control. But control and certainty are not the same thing. The future has never belonged to anyone. No amount of thinking can guarantee tomorrow. And deep inside, your brain already knows that. That is why it never stops searching, because it is trying to solve a problem that cannot be solved. The uncertainty of life. Perhaps that is why some of the happiest people are not those with the fewest problems, but those who stop demanding certainty before taking action. There is an old psychological principle: attention strengthens whatever it touches. The more attention you give a thought, the stronger it becomes. Imagine feeding a stray animal every single day. Eventually it will keep returning. Thoughts behave in exactly the same way. Every time you argue with them, every time you analyze them, every time you fear them, you are feeding them. Soon they become regular visitors, then permanent residents, until one day, You believe they are who you are. I am anxious. I am broken. I am a failure. But are you? Or are those simply thoughts that have been repeated so often they started sounding like truth? Psychologists call this cognitive fusion. It happens when we become so attached to our thoughts that we can no longer see the difference between what we think and who we are. But there is a question that changes everything. Who is noticing the thought? If you can observe your thoughts, then you cannot be your thoughts. There is an observer behind every thought, behind every emotion, behind every fear. That silent awareness has been there your entire life. It watched you as a child. It watched you as a teenager. It watches you today. Your thoughts have changed thousands of times. Your beliefs have changed. Your memories have changed. Even your body has changed. Yet something inside you has remained the same. Perhaps that silent observer is the real you. And perhaps peace does not come from stopping your thoughts. Perhaps peace begins when you stop believing that every thought deserves to be followed. Clouds move across the sky without changing the sky itself. Thoughts move across consciousness without changing who you truly are. The sky never fights the clouds. It simply allows them to pass. Maybe your mind was never asking you to control your thoughts. Maybe it was inviting you to stop chasing them. There is a simple experiment that psychologists have repeated for years. Close your eyes and try not to think about a white bear. For the next 10 seconds, do not imagine it. Do not picture it. Do not think about it. What happened? The harder you tried, the more impossible it became. This is known as the ironic process of thought. The mind often gives more power to whatever we try to suppress. Perhaps that is why the more desperately we chase peace, the more restless we become. Because peace is not something we force. It is something we allow. Imagine sitting beside a river. Leaves float on the surface. Some move quickly, others drift slowly. You don't jump into the water to stop each leaf. You simply watch them pass. Your thoughts can be treated the same way. Not every thought needs an answer. Not every fear deserves your attention. Not every question requires a solution today. Some thoughts are simply passing leaves. When you stop chasing every thought, something extraordinary happens. You begin to notice life again. The sound of the wind, the warmth of sunlight, a quiet conversation, a deep breath. Moments that were always there, but hidden beneath the noise of your own mind. This is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you were before fear convinced you that thinking harder was the answer to everything. Your greatest decisions will rarely come from panic. They come from clarity. And clarity does not appear when the mind is loud. It appears when you create enough space to hear something deeper. Perhaps the next time your mind begins racing, instead of asking, "How do I stop thinking?" ask a different question. What if I don't need to believe every thought that appears? That single question has the power to change the relationship you have with your own mind. Because the goal was never to eliminate thinking. The goal was to stop becoming imprisoned by it. Remember this: the problem is not that you think too much. The problem is believing that every thought is telling you the truth. Freedom begins the moment you realize that you are not the voice inside your mind. You are the one who is listening. If this video helped you see your mind from a new perspective, subscribe to the Big Questions vertical bar. Understand your mind. Every week, we explore the deepest questions about psychology, human consciousness, and personal transformation. Leave a comment below. What is one thought you are finally ready to let go of? Until next time, keep asking the questions that transform your life.